and I am from South Africa. I have been in China, believe it or not, for what is it now? 7 months. 7 months. I am a relatively new teacher. And yeah, I am based in Taizhou and I teach kindergarten. I am the only foreigner in my school. And yeah, teaching kindergarten K4 is exciting. And you know what? I am always excited to help each and every one of you guys. Thank you. That's it for me.
Wow, okay. That's very good. That was really detailed. Um, for those who do not know, I am William and I am currently in China. I'm teaching ESL. I'm also based in the north of China. I have been here for about 4 years, thereabout. And I teach in a kindergarten. Personally, I'm from Ghana. And this channel was started about 3 years ago, I think over 2 years ago. And we got a little bit of traction and people started asking about having support on WhatsApp. So we created this WhatsApp group that could help everyone. So we're glad to have our first Zoom call today to try and discuss some of the things that would be helpful to all of us. And our first topic that we're going to discuss for our first Zoom call is fundamentals of language learning and teaching, ESL, fundamentals of the basics of learning and teaching ESL. So I would talk a little more on that very soon, but let's just take a moment. Let's write down in the chat below. Everybody, you can just let us know where you are, where you teach, whether you're in a school already. Just write something down below. Let us know something about you. For those who have joined already, just write something down below. Let us know something about you. And please, if it's possible that we could just put our mics on mute for now, so that when it comes to the part where we share information, where we talk, then we can unmute our mics one by one, just to avoid the cacophony. So if you could do that, that would be great. So looking at our agenda for today, what we are going to do is, first of all, okay, so before we get to that, I'm seeing Linda is saying that inside China currently in kindergarten almost a year now. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, just a moment. I will work on the unmute thing. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So that's another comment. That's Nolo. Nolo is saying that I'm Nolo, currently teaching at a kindergarten in China. Been here for a few months now. Okay. Good to have you on. So I know a lot of you are South Africans, and that's the way of pronouncing your names. I'm sorry if I butcher your name and I don't say it right. Just forgive me for that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have let's do a little bit of self-introduction. Whoever would just wanna, if you would want to just say a little bit about yourself one by one, we could do like a hand raising. I will unmute you and then you just say something about yourself. You can unmute yourself and then you just tell us a little bit about yourself. Okay, so is that happy?
Yes, be happy.
Just a little bit. Okay.
Oh my goodness, I didn't turn off my microphone, so sorry. Hi everyone. Let me just. Okay, I think it's fine if I don't open my screen because partly.
It's okay. You can just say something about yourself quickly.
Yeah. I'm Teacher Happy. I'm based in Taiwan. So Taiwan basically is almost like China, and because they speak the same language, I've been teaching in public schools. This is my second year, and yeah, that's just it. So on my first year, I was teaching from kindergarten to grade 6, and now I'm only teaching grade 5 and grade 6 students. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, great. Good to have you. Anyone else want to tell us a little bit? We'll do this for the following 3 minutes, and then we can start having a discussion about learning and teaching ESL. Anyone else wants to say something about themselves?
Hi, Teacher William.
Hi.
Hi, it's
You're,
Siki. I'm in China.
okay. All right.
I'm teaching in a kindergarten. I've been here for 2 months. Today it's exactly my 2 months in China. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yes,
You're
Happy
welcome to
anniversary.
China.
yes, yes. I just put something on the chart here where I am in China.
Okay, okay, all right.
I'm teaching
That's
ages
great.
from 2 to 6 years. Yeah, I teach all the
Right.
classes from 2 to 6 years.
The little ones.
Yeah.
You teach the little ones.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Okay. All right.
And type saying,
Okay. Anyone else for the next 2 minutes?
William and type saying has her hand
Hi,
up.
everyone.
Okay, you can just unmute yourself and then you can continue.
Okay, thank you. Hi,
Yeah.
everyone. I'm Tabi Singh, and I am from South Africa. And
Yeah.
I am currently teaching at a kindergarten, and I've
Okay.
been working for a few months. And
Okay.
yeah, so I've got kids between the ages of 2.5 to 4 years in one class. Thank you.
You're welcome. That's great. It's good to have you. So down in the comments, we have a few. We have Sarah who's saying I'm teacher Sarah teaching in Suchang kindergarten. It's been a month now. All right. So if we could just have one more person, that'd be great. Just to acknowledge, I think our great admin Cassia is on. I'm not sure if she wanted to say something, that'd be great, but just to let you know she's on. So the admins we have on today are Cassia and Lenny.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Yes, I'm teacher Melody. And
Okay, Melody.
yes, I'm teaching kids from grade 1 to grade 6. And I've been here since September. So yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Okay, Melody. Melody, you're in China, right? Just to be sure.
Yes, I'm in China.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's great. Okay, so it's 6:10 right now. Let's just try and get into what we're going to discuss for today. And our topic for today, what we are going to talk about is basics of learning and teaching ESL. So just to explain a little bit about what this topic actually means or the origin of selecting this topic. So basically, the learning and teaching is one part, and then ESL is like on the other part. Kindly mute yourself so that when it comes to discussion, you can. So what we're trying to say is that we're trying to look at the basics of learning English as a second language. And then we would use that also to talk about teaching English as a second language. And I have a few points that I have put down that I would want us to talk about. I would want us to discuss. So I'm just going to try and share screen. Just a few things I wrote down that I would want us to take a look at. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see. Yeah. So first I want to talk about
Do you want the teachers? Yes, we can see the screen. Do you want the teachers to have questions later after you've actually went through the slide,
Yes.
or do you want an interactive? Okay.
Yes, I will talk about some of what I've put down first, and then when I'm done, we will have a discussion around it together. So just for a few minutes, just bear with me for a few minutes after, and then we'll just talk about, we'll share ideas. If you have anything that you want to add to this, then you can add to it. You guys understand me, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So just getting right into it. I believe we all have learned a language before, and it's evident in the fact that you guys can hear me as I speak. That means if you understand me, we are communicating using a language. English is a language. A lot of us have our local dialect that we can speak. And in some countries, there are a lot of people who can speak just one. In a lot of the English-speaking countries, there are a lot of people who can speak just one language. But in a lot of places like Africa, we can speak a whole lot of languages. So for instance, in Ghana, there's a whole lot of languages, and I can actually speak about 4 or 5 local dialects, and they are not similar. So they are very different. It's like taking Spanish and French worlds apart. And there is a bit of an art that comes to learning a language, but then there is also a science to it. There's a procedure that if you follow, it works for you. And I will talk about a few of those, a few things that have to do with that. So first of all, a language is a means of communication. It goes from a sender to a receiver. And there are many forms of languages. And among those, there's verbal ones and there's non-verbal ones. So for instance, if I want to send a message to someone, I need to say something in verbal communication, and they will hear, they can hear me, and then they understand. They can also send a message back in the same way. There's non-verbal communication. So for instance, those who know about computers and stuff like that, there's something we call programming language. That means it's the language in the computer that helps things talk to each other. So ideally, a language is something that we use for communication. Now, when it comes to English, when it comes to learning English, if you want to learn English as a language, let's put all the other languages aside. Let's take the English language, for instance. In the English language, there are 44 phonemes, let me put it that way, although we have the 26 characters. And the 26 characters can be combined together to give us certain sounds. So for example, the letter A comes with a sound, the letter B comes with a sound. We have consonants and we have vowels. So in verbal communication, there are sounds that have to be made. And these letters help us identify these sounds, right? So if you take something like English and you take another language like Spanish, there are sounds in the English language that are not in the Spanish language, because the English language has a set of sounds. It has a sound pattern to it. And the Spanish language has a sound pattern to it. Portuguese, other languages in your local country, every language. That's how come some languages even have a click in it and others don't, right? Because it is said that a person can make, according to research, a person can make as many as about 600 consonant sounds and 200 vowel sounds. But then the English language only uses about 44 of them, right? And in learning a language, the first thing that happens is that we need to get used to the sound that that particular language makes. And the more we recognize that language, the easier it becomes for us to learn words in that language, for us to become fluent when it comes to listening, for us to become fluent when it comes to speaking, right? And for for a child, let's take if a child is learning to speak English. The child has like a clean slate, even not just English, their language, their local language, their native language in particular. You guys have been around these kids, teaching them, and you can see how fluent they speak their native language. Whether you're teaching in China or you're teaching in Vietnam or Thailand or wherever you're teaching, you can find that these kids are very fluent in the language they speak, and they hardly make any mistakes when it comes to the tonal pronunciations and stuff like that, because they have had the time to familiarize their ears with the sound pattern of that particular language. So usually they say that in learning a language, it actually starts from listening. You need to listen, you need to listen, you need to listen. And then the more you listen, your ears begin to identify that, okay, if I say boy, boy is an English word. It's not a Chinese word. Why? Because of the sound. There's a b, there's a there's a in the word boy. But then if I say something like mayor, that doesn't sound English. Why? Because when your mind goes through the algorithm that it has for the English language, there are sounds that you just made with this word that it doesn't correspond. So for instance, if I say something like "Como estás?" Okay, wait, it doesn't sound like English. You know it because you know the sound pattern that English makes. So usually the first step in learning a language is being able to identify the sound pattern. And that is how come while we are teaching in our journey, you'll find that when you're teaching the kids in the beginning, those who just start from the beginning learning the language, you would find that they make a lot of mistakes with the pronunciation of words. Because at that point in the beginning, they haven't been able to decode the sound pattern of the English language yet. So for instance, Lenny, there was a time we were talking and you talked about the kids saying something like orange or something. Okay.
Yeah.
So for instance, the word j, or that part that that they add at the end is something that is a pattern, a sound pattern in the Chinese language. So what is happening is that they are mixing the English with the Chinese. So I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this. You teach cat and they say cat, because that the at the end is part of this Chinese sound pattern. So you say something, you teach them something like dog, and they say dog, and they say fish. That is something that is consistent with the Chinese language. So it takes time for them to be able to decode and figure out that, oh, okay, in the English language, it's a t, not t, it's a g, not g, as it is in the Chinese language. So the better they can identify that, the better the accent will be, the better they'll be able to know. So look, I've been able to learn Chinese, and there were steps, there were stages in the language learning journey. And you figure out that, okay, in the beginning, you say words wrongly. Not intentionally, you hear something, you try to repeat it, but sometimes you repeat it and it's wrong because your mind is not used to it, okay? Even when they say the word, you can't hear it clearly because you've not decoded it. So you need to hear a lot of words. You need to hear a lot of words. And the more you hear, your mind begins to put them together. So for instance, you hear boy, you hear baby, you hear bass, then your mind begins to decode the b in the English language, not the reading part. We're not even talking about reading because when it comes to reading, you can see b and you can say b. That's another stage. But then when we come to the point where you have to listen and be able to speak, it's going to take a while. You need a lot of words to be able to do that. You need to hear many words. So usually when I start with teaching, the first thing I focus on the kids listening, I use a lot of songs. So I do a lot of songs with them. We're singing super simple songs. We are singing a whole lot of other songs. And then while I'm teaching them words, I'm constantly reminding them, okay? I'm pointing to my mouth and I'm saying it's b, not b, it's boy, not boy. It's dog, not dog. Just to let them know, just to let them figure out, start to realize that, okay, this language they're teaching me is different from my language, Chinese. And okay, I'm starting to figure out that some sounds are different. Okay. And this is going to be a journey that takes a while for the kids. So usually when we're teaching them, this is something we have to take note of. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just try and summarize all that I've said, which is that a language is something for communication. We all know that. We all can speak a language. It's verbal, it's non-verbal. There's sign language, which is non-verbal. We all know that one. And in learning a language, the first step, number one, is to be able to decode the sound pattern that comes with the language. If you're able to decode it, it makes it really easy for when someone says a new word, you're able to recognize the sound and you can repeat it. And after listening and decoding, you go to speaking. And usually when you're speaking, you need time to have the confidence to be able to speak. All right. Because sometimes you're not sure if I say this, is it right? I don't know, but then you try and then it sounds okay. And the people are like, oh yeah, that's it. And then gradually you build that confidence. So we're going to just focus on these two today. Another time we can talk about reading and writing, because I think they are like a different step altogether. But for today, we're going to just talk about listening, the listening part of learning and the speaking part of learning a language. And with the teaching aspect of it, I think if you can learn it very well, it makes it easy for you to teach it. And we are all teachers. So the teaching part, I will leave it to be a discussion and then we will talk about it together. So here ends my points on language learning. So I will open the floor right now for us all to try and pitch in and say what we think about ESL, about learning a language for the first time, the fundamentals of learning a language. And let's start with the learning and then we'll bring in the teaching. So I'll open the floor right now. Anybody who wants to say something, okay, you have the floor.
I can start, but I also just like
okay.
Everybody.
Yes. Let me be sure. Please, can everybody hear Lenny? If you can hear Lenny, I'm going to make it possible so that you can unmute yourself. So if someone wants to say something, it's an open floor right now. You can just unmute your mic and then you can say something. All right, here we go.
Okay, I think everybody now is unmuted. No, not everybody's unmuted, but I think one by one, everybody's getting unmuted. But I think you actually just like touched on something very important, William. So now we actually understand the intricacies of language. But what I took from your discussion, and I think is so important, because you are teaching a non-native.
I'm fine, and you?
Please, okay. Lenny, you can go on. I'll just mute. I'll just mute her. Sorry, you can go on.
Just if anybody wants to talk, they can just like raise their hand because, I was saying that I think it's a very important thing that you just like said now by decoding just like different ways of learning a language. And what I took from there, and I think it's so important that before anything else, we need to start building the confidence of our learners. Whether you are teaching a 3-year-old or 4-year-old, teaching a language, and we can all agree, once we landed in China and we even saying ni hao is quite embarrassing. So you can imagine a child having to learn the ABCs until Z. It's an incredibly embarrassing thing. So you need to start building that confidence of a child. So I think from speaking, from actually just like learning different songs. And what I do in my class, try to speak as more English as possible and not just like phrases, not just say sit down, don't say stand up. Please stand up, say the name so that I can be able to teach, so that they actually can start learning the language. So most people who are actually new here, I think we can all just like resonate with the fact that when we all landed in China, the Chinese language also was a bit intimidating. So you can imagine coming into a classroom and you have a new face, the new teacher coming in who you don't know, they sound very weird, they have a different skin tone, they look weird, they have a different body shape compared to what you actually know. So you don't even have the confidence to actually come up to the teacher. So I think importantly, start building the confidence of the child. Playing with the child is important. Speaking the language to them is important, even if they don't understand. And I think that's the thing, because what it does, you're starting to desensitize the child to say, I don't speak Chinese. This is the language that I'm speaking. This is the language. And yeah, some people might agree, some people might not agree. But like I said, this is like very interactive platform. So please, if you disagree, let me know. If you disagree, don't. But totally, I think just like speaking the language is so important to the child, and building that confidence, playing, jumping, just to make sure the child can literally just like now trust you. Once the child trusts you and you build some sort of loyalty with the child, Bob's your uncle, then we can learn the language.
Oh, that's great. That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
I think we should try and build relationships with the child, give them more than they can take. That's very essential. Okay, so the floor is open. Anyone else who wants to say something? Anyone who wants to make a contribution, you can just unmute your mic right now.
Maybe Natasha can come to the platform and actually tell us her experience, how it's been. If it's not to share what the most fundamentals are, but just like tell us like your experience, how that has been, and maybe we can take some knowledge from that.
Okay, so you can share your experiences with us, what it feels like. I think there are some of us who have also tried to learn the Chinese language, so we can even talk about it as teachers, what it feels like to we're trying to teach someone else a language. What does it feel like for us, even trying to learn a new language in ourselves? So we can talk about all that. The floor is still open, as I say. So in learning a new language, I think usually one of the difficulties, there's something called one of the things that could make language learning easy, or that makes it difficult. One of the things that defines how the language is learned has to do with the environment. I don't think I'm going to talk about this a lot, and I'm trying to put all these in a course that I mentioned already. The course is going to come out later. It's the kind of environment in which you learn the language in. So usually, if you are in an environment where a lot is given to you, where the language is used in a very interactive way, it's used in a very practical way, it makes it easy for you to pick up a whole lot besides what is even actively taught. So it's something called like an immersion environment.
Typing has raised her hand.
Okay, so I think, all right. Sure, Natasha.
No, and type saying she's the one who raised her hand. You can unmute yourself and type something.
Okay,
right,
Natasha, you can say something.
Teacher William saying.
Yeah.
I like the pointers that you both have made. with regards to building the confidence in the child, just building that relationship with the child, playing with them, speaking the language more often. But with the schools or the kindergartens that we're with, they are, of course, and the parents as well, they're looking forward to hearing the kids speaking the language. So yes, the kids learn through listening. You know, the more you speak the English language, the more they're able to grasp on certain words. But my question, I don't know if I'm able to phrase it, where draw the line for us to then start speaking less and hearing how far they are with their English, language. Where do we draw the line? Because it's not every day that you can keep on. And yes, this is how they learn, but where do we draw the line, especially with the expectation of the parents and the school of wanting to eventually hear the kids actually speak the language?
Is it not a matter?
That's a really good
Yeah.
question.
Because do you want to take that and I can answer after?
You go on. You can start.
I think it's once you teach your kids and type of thing, I think you know exactly who the chatterboxes are in your class. You know who's very quiet. And yes, you can't speak a lot, but sometimes it's a matter of just like maybe like starting to phrase a question repeatedly in the class, like saying, "What's your name?" And then you ask them, "What's your name?" And then just like see who actually picks up their hand, and the ones who actually pick up their hands, you ask them what's their name, and then you go on to ask like something else later, just to actually just like pick up on, do you actually know the language? And also when you play with the kids, you don't just play by asking random questions. For what I do, I'll probably start like the ABC song, and then after that I'll go to like there's another phonics song, and then I'll go to a food song and see if they actually finish. Like I'll probably start by saying 3 or 4 words and see if they actually finish the entire thing, or I'll actually just like say a sentence and see if they actually finish it. But also I know kids cram a lot. They'll say something, you'll say something repeatedly, and then they'll actually just like say it with you. But to actually understand, I think you have to spend time with that child and actually be able to say, okay, now this one actually knows what I'm saying, because you'll also see it in the facial expressions of the child if they actually do understand you. So when I come to a class and it's dark, obviously I'll need to switch on the lights. I'll not even switch on the light myself, but I'll literally sit down and say, somebody please switch on the lights, without even looking at the light, without looking at the switches, just looking at them straight in the face to actually see who actually understand what I said. If I come in with like a bottle of water, I'll leave it at the entrance and say, somebody please fetch me a glass of like my bottle of water. They know, okay, he's always carrying his bottle of water. So by asking those questions or key words in your questions, I think that's when you actually start telling who can actually speak the language, because immediately they'll say, oh, I'll pick it up, or I'll go, and then they'll go pick up the water, and then they'll come back and say, oh, here is your water. So you don't have to speak all the time. And also speaking all the time is not something bad, but also give them the opportunity, that right of to reply. I'm not sure if I'm making sense in type of thing.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I love the fact that you talked about giving the kids the opportunity also to express themselves. What I can add to this is that you need to understand that learning a language, it takes time to manifest the fluency. It takes time for you to actually see what the kids have learned. And a lot of times it is, I wouldn't say it's justified parents' expectations, but it kind of is. They bring their child and then immediately they want to see the kids begin to say a whole lot more. That is where the kind of environment in which the child is learning actually comes in. So you need to assess what kind of environment you are in and then start to manage the parents' expectations. So there are different kinds of environments in which we teach. For instance, there are people who are homeroom teachers in an ESL school. There are people who are just subject teachers who go in to teach just a few words. Maybe you teach window, door, home, and then you move on to the next class to teach it. So in such a situation, you wouldn't get the kid becoming fluent just like that. It's not gonna happen. So you need to kind of look at the environment in which you teach and then start to manage the expectations of of the parents. You let the school know that, okay, this is the scope of our teaching. This is what is possible. This is what is not possible. If you're a homeroom teacher, if you're someone who has to be in the class, maybe in one class, maybe from morning all the way to afternoon, that means the kids get to experience a whole lot more with you. That means you get to express many different things in many different contexts with them. So for instance, you have the opportunity to be with them during lunchtime or during breakfast, and you're gonna have the opportunity to say, okay, who wants more food? To say more with them. Even that, it still takes time for them to manifest the kind of fluency they have. Okay, so we can I'm not sure we can like go really deep into all of that. But then what I would say is that when it comes to the fluency, I have experienced this a lot, and sometimes I would hear my child has been here, but they don't know anything. I've heard that so many times. I think it's just about expectations, and sometimes the school promotes the English learning as if it's a 1 month, big bang, they can speak English thing. But then it's not magic. It takes time. In whichever environment as kids, it's going to take time. So for instance, there was a video recording in my school. One of the teachers gave the kids some assignments to say some things, and they made an English video. I didn't even know about the video. And then later the teacher was telling me that, oh, now that she did this, she's realized how good the kids have become and their fluency and their accent and everything. And like, yeah, they've been learning for over 2 years. So that's how come you can see it now. But in the beginning, you would not see anything. So I would say that manage expectations. That's very important. So anybody want to add something to this?
Natasha wants to say she's been raising
Hi,
her hand.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself and talk. I've made it open. So if someone wants to say something, you can just go ahead and then unmute yourself.
Yeah, I've just unmuted myself. I'm Teacher Happy again. Once again, I'd like to apologize not showing my face. I just want to add something that the previous teacher said. I'm sorry I didn't get her name because I'm trying to multitask. She said something about saying a word like maybe please switch on the light, and by not looking, right? And she wants to see which child will go and switch on the light, right? So this is how I'll do it. So when you're teaching young students, more especially those one at kindergarten or like basically young students, you just work with drills. Drills, it's when you just repeat the same phrase up until the lower level student understand what you are saying. So this is how I'll do it, right? So I'll constantly say when I get inside the class, please switch on the light. Then I'll now then give that task to the first student that understand uh, the sentence, right? Maybe I'll say, Jake, please switch on the light. Then Jake will stand up and go and switch on the light, right? Then on the second time when I want to switch off the light, then I'll take the second student. Peter, please go and switch off the light. Then on the second day, you can do that with another student. So you'll do this based on your students' understanding. So they'll get used to switch on the light, switch off the light, switch on the light, switch off the light. So by the end of maybe 5 weeks or maybe 4 weeks, depending on your target, like each and every student now know that when you say switch on the light, switch off the light, they know what that means. So this is what you can also show to your bosses, that they know these words, all of them. So it should not be individual achievement, because sometimes this teaching and learning it's advantageous to some students because they are smart and also they go to extra classes and other students they don't. So in your class, you should have something like a blanket where you just level your student. So you give each and every student an opportunity to understand and actually do what you require them to do based
Yeah,
on
to
what
I
you
like
participate.
said. And yeah, so that's my 2 cents. So it should
That's
not
your
be
two
on
cents.
it should not be on individual student. It should be on the whole class. And remember the drills, the drills, the drills, the drills. So that's
Mm.
how young students learn.
That's really
that's
important. Using some kind of routine, something they have to do over and over. You can put like a reward at the end of it to motivate them. That's a really good point, actually. That's a really good point.
this thing, William, about the rewards. Rewards don't work in my class. They don't work in my school because for them, because I mean, I belong to like a somewhat of an affluent school, like kindergarten. So when they get rewards at home, they're getting iPads, they're getting like gadgets and stuff. So when you give a child a sticker, for them, it doesn't. But I want to touch on something also with learning a language. I'm not sure if people can see my, can you guys see me? Because I want to just like do like a quick,
Yeah, we
yeah,
see you clearly.
Well, I can see you.
fantastic. Yeah, so I just want to just like show you something quickly when, especially teaching in the class. So I see a lot of teachers, especially in my school as well. There's 2 English teachers who are Chinese, but they don't, when they teach in their classroom, this is what they do. TV, let me just do this quickly. They'll say TV. What is this? Let me just remove my, because I put like a blur thing there. And then they'll say, what is this? Sofa. What is this? What is this? Oh, telephone. That's a really bad way of teaching kids. So what I don't, how do I, just, sorry guys, technology, I want to unblur, because I think I blurred my.
But we can see. It's
Wait,
okay.
don't worry. You can go on. We can see. We can hear
Okay,
you.
the kids
Anyone who
will
wants to turn on their video, just say you can turn it on. That's fine.
yeah.
I would
So this is,
encourage you guys to turn on your video so that we can see you. Go on, Lenny.
the kids don't learn, like, I mean, they can say, what is this? Oh, it's a sofa. Then they'll see sofa. Oh, what is this? It's a TV. Oh, what is this? It's a telephone. Oh, what is this? It's a light. Stop doing that with flashcards, teachers. Please stop doing that. What you want to do with teaching flashcards, you need to say, what is this? Oh, it's a sofa. What do you always have to have a phrase? What do we do with? So once they see sofa, they're like, so what I teach, sit on the sofa, sit on the sofa, watch the TV, watch the TV, but also make signs, watch the TV, call on the telephone, call on the phone. And then what I'll do, I'll say, ring, ring, Carson, ring, ring, Emily, hello, Linda, hello, Lenny, hello, Umpo, turn on the lights. And I say, Cotton, turn
Okay,
on the
so
lights. So don't teach
not
words.
to cut you off, but
Yes.
Lenny, not to cut you off, but Lenny, just to understand a little bit, like the environment in which you are. What I get there. What is your classroom setup like? What is this like? Can you tell us more so we understand like the context behind
So
your teaching? Like,
I am not a homeroom teacher. I think I will die if I was a homeroom teacher. But I have 5 classes. So I teach 2 international classes. So the international classes, I'll be with them from 9 o'clock until 10:30, 1. And the other one, I'll be with them in the afternoon from 3 o'clock until 4:30, until I go home. So 3 o'clock until 4:30. So I'm with them for like an hour, 30 minutes. But then 30 minutes is for them to have a break. 30 minutes is class, 30 minutes break, and then 30 minutes to teach again. So I teach them for an hour every day. And then the other 3 classes, I teach them for like 20 minutes. Yeah. And that's that. but I understand that they're not fluent in the language. So when I start teaching what is this, the child will only just know that this is a sofa. But when I say sit on the sofa, they'll really just like say, they know it's a sofa, so sit on. But before then, remember, there's already like things like chairs on flashcards. So therefore, we've already learned things like floor. So they know sit on the floor, sit on the sofa, sit on the chair. So call on the cell phone. They know a cell phone is very different to a telephone, for example. They know open the refrigerator. A refrigerator, what do you find in the refrigerator? Milk, because we already just like did drink milk, drink water, drink yogurt. So they know, oh, what the teacher is teaching us now is open the refrigerator, because once you actually say open the refrigerator and it's something about indirect body language, indirect language.
Okay. So that's let me just qualify what you said. It's a really good point, and I think it would help in a lot of instances. But also let's understand that we are teaching like diverse environments, right? And you said you are in for instance, you have an international class, right? You are in a place where there's an international class, and you get to stay with them a little longer. I think your context, it's really good for if you want to give them a whole lot more, right? And it's a very good point, giving them more sentences while you're teaching the words. For example, saying it's sit on the sofa, pick up the ball, all that. It can work in a lot of instances. But also I just want to add that there are certain instances where the kids need more to get there. So maybe the teachers will have to do some pre-work or some groundwork before they can get to that point. But then I understand what you're saying, and I think it could work in a whole lot of situations.
Yes, so, and remember, language is a muscle, right? So whoever goes to gym here will know that once you go to the gym and you start training a muscle, it starts growing and growing. So for me, for me, once I teach a word, for me it defeats the purpose, because, and also I forgot to say this, the sentence that I teach are not more than five words. So what? Sit on the sofa, 4 words, sit on the chair, or call on the telephone. So most of them are like, actually all of them are like 4 words. So, and that's for them to actually start saying, I'm building that muscle for them to actually start going through sentences and not just words. Because most teachers will just like put up a flashcard and say, yeah.
My hand is
all right. You want to say something, Linda? Hi, Linda.
Yes.
Can you? The floor is open to you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm Linda. I am in Turkey. I wanted to.
Okay, Linda.
Thank you. I want to add to what Mpo has said. Because you have maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes to work with the kids. Maybe just singing or just saying sit on this, or just naming the vocabularies, it might take just a short time, and also to make them busy and more, and the classroom more active. You can also, what I do is I play a music sometimes, and I place the flashcards on the floor round. Yes, and they stand around the flashcards. Then when I play my music, they are dancing around those flashcards. When I pause, everybody stops in front of a flashcard and maybe pick the flashcard and also say what they have seen, and maybe make a very short sentence about the flashcard. It's also adding to what you have said, so that, because if you're just naming the vocabularies, it will take just some 10 minutes. Then the other 1 hour, 20 minutes, you might not have other things to do. So you can also do activities of such. Again, you can, sometimes I throw maybe the flashcards under their tables, and I ask them to, I just make a random statement like, rush under the table. I want the first person who will bring me a sofa. You see, I am speaking, so they understand what a sofa is. They rush and pick. By the time I keep repeating sofa, go and pick a sofa, go and pick a pen, day by day, they will understand those words and they will learn. So to make the class active, I always mix games in my activities. Thank you so much. I just wanted to add.
So let me just so some people don't feel like they're doing the wrong thing in their school. Let me just add a little bit to, let me try and clarify what we've said, okay? Let me try and clarify what our friends have said. So I said that there are different environments in which we teach a language. And this is something I discuss a whole lot further in the course that I'm bringing up. And hopefully when it comes out, I hope a lot of you would want to, get the course and see all these things. So for instance, in learning a language, we have a language learning environment. We have a language acquisition environment. So what happens is that during language acquisition, you are given a whole lot more. Like it's an environment where people say more than just what you need. So for instance, at home, they're going to say, pick up the cup, pick up the ball, pick up the book, pick up the pencil. Then eventually you begin to connect and know that, okay, pick up means this, but you're not actively taught pick up all the time, right? So that's an acquisition environment. That's a language acquisition environment. But then there's also language learning environment where you're taught just only what's available for you or what is just planned for you. So for instance, there are a lot of people who are not in a language acquisition environment. In the language acquisition environment, the kids get to spend a whole lot more time with the teacher. So that's what the international schools do. That's what the Montessoris do. That's what the bilingual kindergartens, they do. But there are also other environments where there's limited time. So for instance, some people get to teach for only 20 minutes. In that 20 minutes, you have 25 kids in the class, and you have to attend to all of these kids. All these 25 kids, they are of different ages. They are of different learning stages. And in this time, you don't even have enough time for some of the kids to be able to even remember a single word. And yet you have like 3 words to teach that day. You teach the first word, you teach the second word. By the time you're teaching the second one, they've forgotten the first one. So sometimes in that environment where you don't get a lot of time with them, for them to step out of I'm learning English words, into the world where they begin to think that I'm learning English as a language, you can give them so much because it would not necessarily work in that environment. So yes, I totally agree with you, and it's very good. And language acquisition environment is usually like the best way to learn a language. And that's how come, for instance, here, everyone speaks Chinese. So I keep getting Chinese all the time. And that's how come I was able to learn it. So the environment counts. Let's qualify it. The environment really counts. Okay. And when you're privileged, like learning to teach in such an environment, I think it's a really amazing experience. So anyone else? I can see that Natasha, your hand is up. You can unmute and say something. Natasha, the floor is open to you. Yes, Natasha, we're listening to you. Okay, so I think maybe Natasha. Okay, so anybody else wants to ask something? Okay, I think Nolo.
Yes. Hi everyone. So the challenge I have is with the teachers. I'm in a setting where there's only one foreign teacher. So most of the children's classes are taught by the Chinese teachers, of which they use Chinese to teach English. And then by the time I come to class, it almost feels like I'm always starting from scratch, because if I give out like an instruction, if I give out an instruction, they can't hear me, they'll just wait for the Chinese teacher to say whatever I've just said in Chinese, and that's if she also understands me. Which kind of feels like, I don't know, I'm working in reverse. So I start doubting my teaching style or the methods that I use. And I just want to know, what can I do to just at least try help them know how to answer a simple question like, what is your name, or how old are you, or what fruit do you like?
What age is
Okay, who would like to take? Linda, can you take this one?
Okay, let me try. Normally, what I once taught in a school. It's a Turkish school, and each time when we get to the classroom, you hear the children were not following up because they knew that the Turkish teachers were around. So I decided to send the Turkish teachers out to make the students know that it's English time and only me, that I'm the only person who is around, and they should try to adapt only to me, and anything they want, they should get to me. In any way they want to do it, let them do it. If they cannot speak the English, I wasn't speaking Turkish. So if they cannot speak the English, they should make actions and I will understand. And when I'm also talking with them, I had to make actions. But this, it needs a lot of energy and you being very diversified and active a lot, that you're able to tackle many things at the same time. So when I will just send the teacher out, but I'll tell the teacher that please just stay beside. If I need you, I'll call you. Then the students started seeing that I was the only person at that time, and they had to try everything possible that we could always communicate. And then when the teachers leave, I try to make them love me. Yes, because the first thing is for them to love you. If they love your style, even if you're playing a game that they don't know the game, but if they see it funny to them and interesting, you see they'll always come close to you, and from there they'll want to know your language. So I started doing that, and they instead became more adapted to me than their teachers again. So yeah, they saw it being around me, and bit by bit they started capturing it. So I was able to say, what is your name? And if they don't say it, I'll say, my name is Linda. Your name, John? Are you John? No. Are you Jane? No, you are John. You see, I asked the question and I responded by myself, and they understood what I was struggling to say. So it takes so much. It's not a day's job. That is the issue. Thank you.
Linda, I have to say that's really amazing. That is amazing. I have to agree with that. There is nothing more I can add to this. That's amazing. Hi, Natasha. Do you want to say something now? We are listening to you.
Tomorrow out.
I've noted this. This I'm gonna try too. This is a really good point. Hi, Natasha. Are you ready for you now?
Do you know? Please, I even noticed that the Turkish teachers made the kids to see us as strangers. So the kids were seeing that, no, Linda is a stranger. This Turkish person is my person from my country. They started doing something like racism. So I made them to tell the children that I am also part of them. So I send them out like that, and I make them become very close to me. And they saw me also like one of them. That was the reason why I had to be doing that. Yeah, really.
Sorry, my
Natasha is up next.
Okay, my challenge is that
I think Natasha is still not
I've worked at
No.
this school for a few months now, and I still have like situations where children just cry when I enter the class because of the color of my skin. And I think that's where the challenge is with asking the Chinese teachers to step out, because then the child follows the teacher and they cry. So I don't know. I've tried using stickers. They cry that I don't give them the sticker. I give them the sticker. They cry that I'm the one that's giving them the sticker, not the Chinese teacher. And it just makes me feel helpless because I'm like, what do you want?
Okay. I would say that you might have to Before, let me ask, how long have you been with these kids? How long have you been teaching them? And how old
It's
are
been
they?
6 to 7 months. So I am not a homeroom teacher. And I teach in the different levels, and this happens in the different levels at the different campuses, right? So it's been 7 months, and the ages are from, I think, 2 to 7 years old. Yeah, in the different
Okay.
levels of the children.
So this is something that I talk about. I talk about this in again, I keep talking about this cause because I've actually experienced a whole lot of these things, and I've written them down. I'm trying to make a video concerning all these things. And one of the things in the course has to do with classroom hierarchies. And the kids actually, they see everyone differently in the classroom. You know, I was talking to someone who seemed to be an expert in this matter concerning classroom hierarchies. And one of the things they talked about, you know, it has to do with children, is that even at home, when they're growing up, when they're babies and they are born, and this is something that happens from when they are home, which is that they start to assign different levels of, I wouldn't say respect because it's not respect, maybe different levels of recognition based on what they can get from different people at home. So for instance, the mother and the father, the grandmother and the grandmother, they see these 4 people differently based on how well these people serve their needs, right? So in the classroom also, there's going to be a hierarchy. You know, there's a main room teacher, there's the assistant teacher who helps with teaching and stuff, and there's the teacher who's usually responsible for the kids feeding and stuff like that. And you realize that the kids actually see all of these people differently. The way they react towards the main room teacher is different towards it's different. And the way they will react towards the foreign teacher is also different. And I would say that you should try not to jump in and take control. And I'm sure that's not what you're doing. Just acknowledge the fact that there's a hierarchy in the class, okay? And try and build some rapport with the kids, with the students. Don't rush it. Don't try to get it to be a one-day thing. I've got it. You guys, we are best friends. We are besties. Just give it time. Gradually, I think they will come around. And one of the ways you can do that is through the activities, the kind of activities you have with them, okay? Try to make it less more learning and more fun. Everyone loves fun. Every child loves fun. Every child loves to laugh and be happy. So find ways to make the class less about the learning and more about the fun. And I think if they are really young, songs and stuff actually work really great. I think
regarding that.
All right.
So my strategy that I'm doing now, so I teach K4, right? All my classes K4. But I know if I renew my contract now, I have to go teach K2 next year. So what I do, it's so important to observe your classes, like to observe the Chinese teachers teaching also. So because you're not a homeroom teacher, remember, you've got like some free time. So when you do have some free time, go to the actual class when the Chinese teacher is actually teaching. Just walk in, sit at the back, and if a child is naughty, stand up, fix that child, and say no, because they know yes and no. Say no, and stand at the back. So instead of just like them, because remember, when you come to a class, you stand in one position, right? In the semicircle in the center, and you teach. And then the Chinese teachers will literally just like reprimand the kids. So they need to now understand that there's like dual positions here. So even when the Chinese teacher is teaching, there's another South African teacher or another foreign teacher who comes in and actually reprimands us. So that's how then they start getting confused until they actually just like get to understand that all teachers are the same. So my one biggest thing that actually worked for me during my free time when I just don't chill at the office, I go to these classes. I go to the smaller classes especially, the baby class, the K1, K2 classes, to desensitize them to like somewhat like my black skin, but also to make them aware that I'm a teacher. So when they see me in corridors, they always just like say, "Hi, Teacher Lenny. Hello, Teacher Lenny," even if that's the only thing that they know. But spend time with the kids, even if you go in there for like 10 minutes and they see you. Because the problem is you only come in when you start teaching. And that's the issue. You need to come in when you don't
Okay.
Yes.
I think our time, we've gone past our time, and people might start wanting to go do other stuff. But then let me say in passing that
we don't mind.
Yeah,
people are
yeah, we will have another one again. You can you can spend a whole lot more time. I remember I have this one experience where it's not even just one. There's been a lot of occasions where there are kids in the class who are afraid, of me, and the color black, being a black person and all that. And you walk in and they're crying and they're like, oh, like, it's there. But I don't shy away from that. Usually, sometimes I go just to look for that one child, just to just to hang out with that kid. I go just to just to play with the child. And eventually you realize sometimes they are crying and they are giving me a high five, and it's fun, and we do that, and after a while it just goes away, and I'm their best friend. So I think some of them, we can fully understand your situation. I know you've explained and all that, but I think what I can say is don't give up on this. Just keep pushing. Eventually, I think you'll make some progress on that. Let's take the last one and then we can go. I'm not sure if it's how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, William. Can I please jump in?
Okay. Yes, please.
Am I audible?
Unmute your mic.
Okay,
Hello.
you're on. Hi.
Okay, so yes, I just wanted to ask.
Hold on for a moment. Let's hear Ntatile first, and then you can come in. Okay. Sorry about that. Just a moment.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Let me pick. So for me, it's more of classroom management. Okay. So I teach in a primary school, and the students in per class would range from 20 to 30 students. Okay, so I have this class in grade 1, and every time towards the end of my lesson, so I only just teach for 40 minutes per week in each class, so I only see them for 40 minutes. So I don't see them every day. I only see them once per week, and I spend 40 minutes. So every time towards the end of my lesson, like they would just stand up and hold my feet, and they just hug me, all of them. They wouldn't want to let me go, and I'm sort of like rushing to the next class. So I don't want to end up shouting at them. Like, is there a way of like handling this in a proper way so that they don't get hurt? Like that, I don't hurt their feelings. However, they need to know that
there's no proper way. You can choose to go the full strict route, or you can choose to find a fun way around it. And what I mean by that is, when they do that, acknowledge what they are doing. It was a fun class, but sorry guys, I have to go. And then ask the class teacher to try and help you out. I think if you go the too serious route, the concern is that you might trigger something that might backfire later, and they start to like fall away from you. But then also just talk to them, like while they are doing that. Oh guys, I have to go. Then you're walking away. Then you just.
Yeah.
Linda, can you add something to this?
Because I almost
what William has said is true. Then again, when you go to class the next time, when you get there the next time, when it's getting to the end of your period, tell them nicely. You can tell them nicely that, guys, I'll be leaving, but please don't come to me because you make the class noisy. And I also have to catch up with the other people. Okay, I love you so much. Please just stay put. Okay, like that. I think just giving the sweet words. That's it. But sometimes, do you know, sometimes they are doing that not because they love you. Sometimes they also do that to provoke you or to disturb you. Now you notice their faces and their reactions and know if they are doing because they love you or because they want to disturb you. If they want to disturb you, then you should be staying on it. You should tell them clearly to stop that. If not, they'll make a fool of you. They'll make a fool of you. But if you see that they are doing it because they truly love you, then talk to them nicely that please don't do this. You disturb the teacher. You will hurt me. Again, I'm tired. Please let me go. Please have a nice time. I think that's what I just do. Look at their faces.
Okay. Lenny, you wanted to say something?
Can I add something?
Okay.
Happy, you can come on.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. Actually, before I start with that, where is the button to raise hand? I'm not seeing it here, and
there is an emoji below with the happy face and a plus sign at the top. So you touch that emoji, you'll see the way they raise their hand.
No, it's not
I see it.
appearing
It says
here.
reaction. So there's mute, stop video, participant, chat, and reaction. So by the reaction, there's the emoji with plus on top. So once you click that, it will say raise hand.
No, it's not there. It's not there. Okay. Anyway, let me just add to the problem that the previous teacher has, that the student hug her and all that. So I think that's how the grade 1 are, because they are from kindergarten and that's how they are. I also had that kind of a problem last year. So even when you come, they'll just want to hug you. When you go, they'll want to hug you. So,
no.
Yes.
no, but well, wait, let me just tell you. So this is how I did it, right? So I knew that if I say stop, they will not understand. They'll just keep on doing that. So this is the way I did it. So there's this timer. So when the class is over, they have 1 minute to hug me. Then after that, when the bell, the it makes the TTT sounds, then time is up. And I think that was more fair in a way that I gave them time to hug me, and after the TTT, they know time is up, and most of them, they'll wean themselves off, and it was
right. So Happy, I agree with you.
way.
I agree with you, Happy. I think that's a great way to deal with this thing. You can at least give them what they want in a limited way, that you also get what you want. Maybe just find common ground that actually works. Linda, I think your hand is up, but before that, I think I don't know how to say this one, Babawa or something.
Hi, good me.
Yes, Babawa, please. You're on. Linda, kindly hold on, okay?
Okay, William, thank you for
Babawa, you're up.
Not me, because my hand is not up. Okay.
Yeah, not you. Okay.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yes. So just a quick one, right? So I'm fairly new as a teacher. I'm literally still undergoing training. I'm going to start working on the 1st of December. So what I wanted to ask is, how do you guys work together with co-teachers in order to make learning convenient and also effective for the learners? Because I'm here to go through that. And yeah, from what you guys have been talking about, it's a bit tricky. So I just want to know what to expect and basically what's the role of the co-teacher during class. So yeah, that's what I want to know. Thank you so much for your time.
So for me, yes, William.
Okay, Lenny, please, you have the floor. Keep it short, because I think we've exceeded our time and we want to just
So for me, you need to so you need to just set just different boundaries with the co-teacher. Just for when you start teaching, just have a conversation with them and actually just tell them what you actually expect during your classes. For me, that actually did help, because when you do not have that conversation, they tend to just overstep, and then they tend to reprimand the kids. So when I started teaching, and when I started just like perfecting my teaching, I think like 2-3 weeks in, I had the conversation with all the core teachers that I teach, so all 5 of them, and told them when I teach, I didn't expect the kids to speak English, to speak Chinese. So if they want to say something, they'll actually just go through me. So please have that conversation. Obviously, our different boundaries are our different, what we want to achieve are very different in the class. But first and foremost, what you want to actually just set in your class, have the conversation with the main teacher, the core teacher, and even the helper sometimes, to say, this is what I want to happen in my classroom. So that's how I felt like.
Thank you, Lenny. The last one, Linda. Not you. There's another Linda.
Yes. Hi, guys. Hi, Linda.
Hi.
I have I have a question on handling. Okay, last semester I've been with the school for almost a year now. Last semester I was practically teaching the entire school alone. And this semester they introduced a Chinese teacher who knows a bit of English. She just knows vocab and not necessarily sentences. So she's always quick to jump in. Sorry, quick to jump in and introduce the vocab. And when I get to class, the kids are pronouncing words wrong. And that makes it very difficult for me to rectify. And two, my query is kids who are not really, it's not a lot, but how do you handle kids who just curl up and not want to participate in anything that you actually do? And it's just one odd kid who's in K3. That's my concern, that he's quite big for such behavior. So when it's more like one-on-one session, what's your name? How old are you? He just curls up and not say anything. Then I just end up moving on because I just have limited time. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, also just to jump in on what.
That's a good question. Can you hold on for a bit? Lenny, would you want to take this one?
I have a suggestion, maybe.
Okay, I think Happy. Okay, Happy, you go.
Well, my suggestion is that how about next time we just make this time a bit longer? Because
okay, sorry,
we have a lot of things to say.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like our 1 hour time is kind of short, and we'll need a lot more time to.
A lot of time. So my suggestion will be that if we have 2 hours, I know like if others they want to go, it's fine, they can go. But whatever we're doing here, it's for our professional development. So if someone wants to go, they'll be going because they want to do something important, and they will be knowing that they disadvantage themselves.
Please, on the other hand, can we instead say that we have each day we have a particular topic we are coming to discuss on, maybe 2 or 3 topics, and everybody makes a research on those 3 topics. When we come in, everybody is given a minute to talk on something about it. And because when it's too long, also it's becoming boring, and very soon you will not see us having interest in joining. When it's short, it is sweet.
All right, sure. Let's try and answer Linda's question, and then we can wrap it up and continue another time.
Please, to respond to her question, my idea is that she should look for a special time to go to that child. One person said that already. She should look for her own free and special time and go to that particular child and make friends with that child. Again, when you get to the class, make that child your assistant teacher, like a helper. Make her have an important role to play in the classroom. She'll be seeing herself she is important, and that you've also considered him or her. He will love your lessons and he will start participating too. When you give him the role of a teacher or an assistant in your class, he will participate.
All right. Thank you, Linda. Okay, so I'm sorry that we couldn't take all your questions. Hold on, everyone. I'm sorry we couldn't answer all your questions. And what I'm gonna say before we sign up. I'm gonna just address one last thing. I think Natasha couldn't come on to talk to us about it, and she has issues with 3-year-olds. And Natasha, I think what we'll do is we'll try and address your issue in the WhatsApp group later. So please try and just either send me a message or any of the admins a message. We'll try and see how best we can answer your question. So I want to just have us wrap this whole thing up and then we can go. Before we do that, I want you all to know that we really appreciate the fact that you guys are taking the time to be a part of this. It's something we really appreciate. It's great and amazing. Thank you all for coming on the call. Thank you all for being a part of the YouTube. Thank you all for being a part of the WhatsApp group and, you know, making conversations lively and all. One of the things we are trying to work on, there's 2 things in the pipeline right now. One is we are trying to find a way. We're trying to find a way to make conversation more curated, in the sense that there are a lot of people who, there's a lot of chat that goes on, and sometimes really important information is lost. And we are trying to find a way to make it such that there's an open space where anybody can go at any time to find, like, to hear someone on specific things. So it's something that is being worked on, and the solution will come out very soon. That's one. And number 2 is, as I said, thank you all for being a part of this. We are working really hard to make sure we can expand the community. If you know other teachers who might need help and all that, you can just add them in. Our next session, the idea of the plan is that it will be once a month. But then we will do a poll in the group later to find out if you guys will want us to make this twice a month. Then depending on the answers, then we'll know what to do. So I think we swayed a little bit. We swayed a little, or not even just a little. We swayed a lot from our main topic today, which was fundamentals of the basics of learning a language. But I think essentially there's a lot that we've addressed today that's helpful to all of us. Hopefully, the next one might be in 2 weeks. If we agree that we can do this every 2 weeks. If not, then it's going to be in the next month. I wish you all a happy time. Let's all unmute our microphones and let's just say a bye-bye to everyone. We will continue. We'll have our next one in the next session. So, if possible, let's all mute our microphones. Those who can turn on the videos, let's turn it on.
Goodbye
Let's all
to
say
everyone.
bye-bye.
Goodbye.
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 Thank you all
And
for
good
coming
night.
on, everybody. Let's just unmute ourselves.
Bye.
Let's say
Bye.
goodbye to everybody. All right.